The first place Indians take on the Rangers at sold-out Jacobs Field. The Indians are rocking, and we'll see the stars shine during the daylight. The Tribe has placed 6 players on the All-Star team, including starting left fielder Albert Bell and American League June Player of the Month, Manny Ramirez. The Indians take on the Rangers and All-Star catcher Bud Rodriguez next. Our 4th of July coverage begins at Jacobs Field in Cleveland, Ohio, as the Texas Rangers meet the Cleveland Indians. It was cloudy this morning in Cleveland, but in 1995 there can only be sunshine because the Indians have an 11-game lead in the American League Central Division up on Kansas City, while the Texas Rangers in the West come in here a game back of the California Angels in the West. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an afternoon of baseball with Jim Rooker. I'm Dwayne Stats. It's nice to have you with us. Well, the Indians are experiencing all this success despite putting together a disabled list that looks like a future Hall of Famers list. Dave Winfield is on that list, so is Eddie Murray and Oral Hershiser. And in their absence, it has been the young members of this Cleveland Indian ball club to pick up the slack. Jim?
Well, Dwayne, one that stands out is Manny Ramirez, the fellow that was runner-up to Rookie of the Year last year. This season already Player of the Month. 23 years old, so much in a short period of time. A good situational hitter. He thinks with the count as it goes on, and he attacks the baseball.
The Texas Rangers have high hopes in the Western Division. They have some physical problems. For an example, Will Clark is not in the lineup today, so they're looking elsewhere.
Well, they need to look elsewhere. They lost Dean Palmer early in the year, but what do you need? Consistency and leadership. One guy goes down, somebody else has to pick it up. Juan Gonzalez back to his self. He loves hitting in this park. Ivan Rodriguez, once again an all-star. They should keep things going nicely.
A great matchup to kick off our 4th of July coverage from Cleveland. The Indians play host to the Texas Rangers. We'll be back with all the action in a few moments. Now let's go to Gary Miller.
All right, thanks a lot, Dwayne and Jim. We'll be with you throughout the day. It's a triple header day here on ESPN. Let's set your matchups for the day. Starting in the American League, including our game, Texas at Cleveland and Jacobs Field. You've also got the Yankees in Chicago. That's our next game. Mariano Rivera, with his ERA over 10, going against the White Sox. Milwaukee and Oakland should also have some fireworks with 2 struggling pitchers. Seattle's at Detroit. Then later on, it's Boston and KC, Toronto out on the coast. In the National League, Ken Hill goes against his former club. Philadelphia tries to snap a 3-game losing streak against the Pirates. San Diego's at Joe Robbie. L.A., a game back of Colorado now, plays the Braves in Fulton County. Chicago's in Shea tonight, and the night in the National League ends with the Astros at Colorado. But our game to get things started on triple header July 4th, Texas at Cleveland, coming your way right after this.
Welcome back to Jacobs Field, where the Cleveland fans are enjoying their baseball this year with the Indians up by 11 games. They take on the Texas Rangers, led by Johnny Oates, and here is his starting lineup this afternoon. Otis Nixon leading off, followed by Mark McLemore and Ivan Rodriguez hitting third and doing the catching. Gonzalez the DH, Tettleton in right, with Luis Ortiz at third base, Jack Voigt, Eric Fox, and Esteban Beltre rounding out the Texas Rangers lineup. They will face 38-year-old left-hander Bud Black.
Well, you see the numbers on Bud Black making his 10th start. An earned run average, obviously, that's up there, but in 3 of his 9 starts has not been able to get out of the 3rd inning. So those numbers can be a little excessive when it comes to the earned run average. You don't look for Bud Black to overpower you. What you do look is a little runner on the inside part of the plate to right-handed batters. So if Black stays out in front of the hitters, it's not that he'll have an easy time of it, but perhaps a little easier. Now we'll look at the defense for the Cleveland Indians. In the outfield, left to right, Albert Bell, Ruben Amaro in center, and Manny Ramirez, the right fielder. Around the infield, and there's Carlos Baerga, who made 15 total errors last year, already 10 this year, but no spring training, short spring training. That has some effect on you. The rest of the infield, Herbert at first, Omar Vizquel at short, and Jim Thome at third. Tony Pena doing the catching this afternoon as Roberto Alomar Jr. getting the day off after having a nice night last night. And Mike Hargrove pretty happy about the way things are going with the Indians.
Yeah, in his 4th year as the manager here, he has an all-star lineup. Any way you look at it, 6 on the team this year. Could have been 8.
There are other guys that are deserving on this ball club that didn't make it. So, no, it's not surprising. We've got a good ball club. But the thing that I think that is special about this club is that these guys really enjoy playing the game. And they come in fresh every day to play, no matter what happened yesterday, whether they won by 10 runs or lost by 10 runs. They come in with the same attitude, the same desire every day, and that's what's fun about being around this ball club.
Well, the Indians won big last night, defeating the Rangers and left-hander Kenny Rogers 9-1. So they have a record of 43-18. That's the same as the 1954 Cleveland Indian Club started. 43-18, and this one all set to go. First pitch of the ball game to Otis Nixon is too low, ball 1. 82 degrees in Cleveland for this one. Nixon, McLemore, and Rodriguez against Bud Black. A 2-ball, no strike count. Nixon, the addition from Boston. 36-year-old leadoff man, and he's up in the count. 3 balls, no strikes. Black gets a strike out of Larry Young. And the count to Nixon, 3-1. Here's Young, around the American League since 1985. It's going to go full. The Texas Rangers came into this series tied for first. They lost last night, so they fall a game back in the West. And they've dropped 3 of 4 on their current road trip and 4 of their last 5. And a base hit for Nixon. Ramirez with the pickup. So Otis Nixon is aboard to start it for Texas.
Well, it looked like one way or the other Otis Nixon was going to get on base. If he doesn't swing at that pitch, it very easily could have been ball 4.
So Nixon does his job, and he's been doing a pretty good job of that all year. He's 3rd in the league in total hits. And now here's Mark McLemore. McLemore getting the start at second base. Johnny Oates a little creative with this lineup today. Black out ahead in the count. Here's Johnny Oates. First year here directing the Texas Rangers after spending 4 years in Baltimore, where he put together some good seasons there. Nixon back in at first.
Johnny Oates can be a very fiery type manager. He is a nice man, a good manager as well. And he has been tested already this year with the injuries, the club struggling at times, but still has his club only a game out of first place.
A 2-strike count. Well, he established, I think, in Baltimore, in the minds of most baseball observers, what they had felt all along is that he is a bona fide top-flight major league manager. He put together 3 consecutive winning seasons over there, something that had not happened in better than a decade in Baltimore. And his thanks for that was to be let go, and then about a month later, actually less than that, the Texas Rangers, taking advantage of his availability, made him manager. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, sometimes you don't realize what you've lost until it's gone, and not that they will ever admit that in Baltimore. And of course, Phil Reagan doing a nice job over there. They are just, it seems to be so confused in Baltimore. They're not quite sure what kind of game plan they would like to use.
That's Nixon at first. He has singled into right field to start the game. Nobody out. Mark McLemore at the plate. He, like Oates, came to the Rangers from Baltimore. A lot of new faces on this Texas ball club from a year ago. And with that has come a new approach, a new feeling on this Texas ball club. Oops, they're going to get him. He is picked off at first. Otis Nixon picked off by Bud Black.
Bud Black didn't really put any kind of an unusual move. He's very deliberate here and gets Nixon leaning the wrong way. Nixon tried to be a little imaginative there, getting back, trying to take the hand away and then stick it around the tag, but nice job by Perry staying with the tag. Now maybe Bud Black can pick up the pace a little bit.
He misses off the inside part of the plate, and the count goes 2-2.
And that's part of the deal, too, Dwayne. A pitcher sets the tone for the ball game most of the time. You get a base runner like Nixon on right away, that changed the tempo. The game automatically slowed down. You want to reward your fielders and your team. Get them off the field as soon as you can. Throw strikes. And Black, at this point, it seems like he's a little tentative out there. He's not really getting the ball and aggressively going at the hitter.
Black coming off his last outing against the Minnesota Twins. He worked 6 innings in that one. A 4-2 record overall. The earned run average a bit on the high side, better than 6. And he goes all the way out to McLemore. 3 balls and 2 strikes. It'll be interesting to watch Black with men on base the rest of the afternoon. As you mentioned, Jim, he didn't seem to do anything unusual with that pickoff move to first base. There's a ground ball headed to short. Vizquel has it come up on him, but he recovers in time to make the play.
Nice job of staying with it. You look at the infield in the first inning or so, it doesn't seem to be too chopped up, but this last bounce takes somewhat of an unnatural little hop, and Vizquel, who is one of the best shortstops in the league, has to fight it a little bit, but he does a nice job of staying with that ball and getting the out.
2 gone with the bases empty. Ivan Rodriguez will be the hitter. Nixon opened with a single but was picked off. The word generally on Black with that pickoff move is that he would show you a variety of different moves over there to first base to try to confuse the base runners, and there didn't appear to be anything that was particularly confusing about that move when he picked off Nixon.
Usually when a left-handed pitcher has a pickoff move, there's something unusual about it, but Black is kind of long with his delivery. By that I mean he's very easygoing, and he'll look at the runner at first base and then go to the plate. Of course, right now it doesn't really matter. We'll watch, as you say, as we go along.
Bud Black behind Ivan Rodriguez will be on the All-Star team and play in front of his home crowd. The 2-0 pitch hit high and deep to left. Bell all the way back to the track against the wall, and Albert Bell hangs on to that one to retire Rodriguez and the Texas Rangers. No runs a hit. They lose a man. Bottom of the first coming from Cleveland. The Indians and the Rangers are scoreless. First inning from Jacobs Field this afternoon. Mike Hargrove's lineup for Cleveland breaks out this way. Kenny Lofton leading off as the designated hitter. Vizquel and Baerga the follow, with Albert Bell in the cleanup spot. Manny Ramirez follows Bell. Jim Thome at third base. Herbert Perry, the first baseman, hits 7th, followed by Tony Pena and Ruben Amaro in center field hitting 9th.
And they will face the left-hander, Terry Burroughs, making his first major league start. All of the games you see there are out of the bullpen. Does have a save, and somewhat of a look-alike in what he throws, Bud Black. Bud Black Jr., Terry Burroughs, neither one overpowering. They'll move the ball around a little bit, and obviously staying out in front of the hitter is very important. So we'll look at the defense, and how important might they be against a youngster who's 26, making his first start in the outfield. You have Eric Fox in left field, Otis Nixon in center, and he may see a lot of work. Mickey Pendleton, a right fielder, so you have a catcher out of position. Nixon may be very important in this ball game for Terry Burroughs. Around the infield, you have Boyd, McLemore, Beltre spelling Gill at short, and Ortiz at third base, with Rodriguez doing the catching. And he will certainly be of some help for Terry Burroughs. Here's where you have to trust your catcher and pretty much let him call the game and go along with him.
As you mentioned, Burroughs making his first start. He does have a relief stint that gave him 5 innings. His last time out, a 2/3 inning performance against California. But prior to that, he worked 5 innings against Oakland on the 26th of June, gave up just 1 hit, and in relief of Darren Oliver. Here's Kenny Lofton to start it for the Cleveland Indians. And the first pitch is a ball. Lofton hitting .329, among the league leaders in a number of categories, among the top 10 in hitting. He fouls it out of play. The count is 1-1. Coming into this game, the Indians have 4 of the top 10 hitters in the American League, and with their production this year, that comes as absolutely no surprise. Lofton takes this one, a soft strike that swept across the corner. The 1-2. That squares it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Burroughs with 2 wins. One of those wins came over Cleveland in a relief role earlier this year. The Indians lead the season series. They've won 3 of the 5 games played between these 2 teams. Lofton lifts it into right, and Tettleton is there to take care of the fly ball for the first out. Johnny Oates goes to the left-hander Terry Burroughs, and earlier today explained why.
Terry Burroughs is a guy that started most of his career in the minor leagues for us, and this will be his first major league start this year. And he's pitched well out of the bullpen. He did very well, pitched 5 shutout innings, 1 hit ball against Oakland the other night, so he's deserving of a start.
Burroughs facing Omar Vizquel, who's become a favorite among the Cleveland fans with his work at shortstop. A Gold Glove shortstop, hitting .260. The pitch is down for a ball.
I think that was very tactfully said by Johnny Oates. Other times he has said that his starting rotation is day to day because of injuries. So you look for a positive, and you want to give a fellow that kind of idea when you send him out there. But between Roger Pavlik, Kenny Rogers, and Bob Tewksbury, they are the big 3 right now, and they're looking to fill those other spots. And today it happens to be Burroughs' turn.
A strike on the outside corner. Well, there's some opportunity when you break down the Texas pitching staff, the starting staff, as you just did, Jim. You look at the overall team ERA is .482, and that's fairly evenly spread between the starting staff and the bullpen. Down to third for Ortiz. Across to Voit. 2 gone.
You use 2 operative words there, break down, and that's what Johnny Oates is trying to stop from happening, because when you get a fellow like this, or another 5 spot, or that guy comes out of the bullpen to fill that 5 hole, you try to get those 5 or 6 innings, because if you get into your bullpen too soon, you just waste the whole day. It's a can of, open up another can of pitchers, and you really want to try and stay away from that.
So Oates is hoping to get 5 innings at least out of Burroughs today. Here's Carlos Baerga. He takes ball 1. Baerga will be the American League starting second baseman. First time in his career that he will start an all-star game. He had made it 2 years leading up to last year, and then did not make it despite having another stellar season a year ago. This one is headed toward the left field corner. Fox will play the carom, and Baerga is going to have to dig. He'll make it. A double for Baerga. That's his 18th of the year.
Good job of Fox getting to the ball and playing it so nicely off the wall. I think sometimes this lineup, and we could talk all day, and it's not that we're just pro Cleveland, but it's just pure fact. Sometimes these guys hit the ball too hard. This ball quickly into the corner. There you see Fox plays it nicely and makes a pretty good throw, and you're right. Baerga does have to hustle in, throw off line, but if it's on line, it could be a very close play.
So a 2-out double, and here's Albert Bell. How dangerous has this guy been? Maturing into one of the top hitters, top run producers in the major leagues. 315 right now, pushing 50 runs batted in, 48 at the moment. Ball 1.
On occasion, Albert will have some defensive lapses, and I think sometimes people beat on that too much, but he made a nice catch here last night, helped stop a rally. and he will make some good plays for you.
Indians with the first scoring opportunity of the game. It'll take a 2-out hit to do it. Down to third, fair behind the bag. Ortiz, a long throw, is there, and the Indians are finished in the first. No runs. The 2-out double by Baerga, the only hit of the inning, and he is left stranded. We have completed one. We have no score in Cleveland. In an age of self-promotion, Eddie Murray's quiet, consistent march towards the 3,000 hit plateau has been remarkable in its understatement. The exclusive club includes contemporaries Dave Winfield and George Brett, hit kings Pete Rose and Ty Cobb, and 500 home run men like Willie Mays and Hank Aaron. It finally happened this past Friday, a single off Mike Trombley. A solid single from the quiet man, but a Hall of Fame hit for sure. Juan Gonzalez will open the second, and the first pitch is a strike. Eddie Murray now on the disabled list with 2 broken ribs in his left rib cage. Only the second time in his long career that he has been on the disabled list. One ball, one strike. '18th now on the all-time hits list, one of 20 men with 3,000, 18th in home runs, so he's looking for 500 home runs. Gonzalez out in front. A ball, 2 strikes to count. And they're hoping that Murray, he said, I'll be back when that time limit is gone off the DL, but realistically, you'd think it might be a little longer than that. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Somebody asked Mike Hargrove, Jim, about the possibility of making a trade to have somebody come in and pick up the slack with Eddie Murray gone for maybe a month or so. That's not what they're thinking about.
They don't need it. As we mentioned earlier, Herbert Perry, he's come up from AAA. This is a young kid that's the best fielding first baseman in their organization.
And a shot right up the middle where Baerga was playing back of second base. So Gonzalez lines to second up the middle.
Well, the thing about Eddie Murray, what surprises me in today's baseball, when you see year after year after year, and I could keep saying that, the number of players that go on the disabled list, and it's only happened to him twice. That is phenomenal. There's another class act for you right there, Dave Winfield.
And he's hoping to come off the DL. They're not quite sure. He did take batting practice today for the first time. Tettleton at the plate. Ball 1 the count.
They're going to have Eddie Murray weekend coming up. And what the Indians have done, they have commissioned an artist from Pittsburgh, and they paid a lot of money for this, but they have a rendering of the 19 players that have already accomplished a 3,000 hit. And it says, welcome to the club. And they have one of the fellows reaching out to shake his hand, welcoming Eddie Murray, and the fellow is Dave Winfield in the picture.
Oh,
I mean,
great.
What a thought. What a great idea.
They've done a lot of things right here in Cleveland over the last few years to get to this point. It has not been by accident that they have this ballpark nor this ball club. There was a plan put in place, and they had the staying power to continue that plan. 3-1 the count. This is a beautiful ballpark. It is, as you know, the throwback to the old ballpark with personality, and it has all the modern comforts and conveniences. There's a base hit for Tettleton. Hit number 2 off Bud Black. 1 on, 1 out. Mike Hargrove happy to have this collection of players and veterans like Eddie Murray to help lead.
I played 12 years. I was a decent hitter myself, and I only got 1,600. So there are a lot of people that don't get 3,000 at bats in the big leagues. To get 3,000 hits is spectacular. I mean, it's spectacular. It's something that is a lot of fun to watch somebody be able to attain that. I was lucky enough to be able to watch Robin Yount get his 3,000th hit, and then Eddie the other night in Minnesota got his. It's a very, very special thing, obviously, by the fact there's only 20 people in the history of baseball that's done that.
So Eddie Murray, for the time being, on the disabled list. And Luis Ortiz at the plate. strike the count to the Texas third baseman.
I know it's somewhat of a cliche, but if there was ever a person that you'd want to say, speak softly and carry a big stick, that is Eddie Murray. He, other than his family and friends, he doesn't talk to too many people.
One ball, 2 strikes, and even the press conference following hit number 3,000, he low-keyed the accomplishment himself. That's a great thing, and it's nice, but he has his focus elsewhere day to day.
Well, it's still a future for him. He plans to play a little longer, and he does want to get to the 500 home run plateau. And when it's all over is when Eddie Murray says he'll look back and probably appreciate what he has accomplished.
Ortiz strikes out. The first strikeout by Bud Black, and the second out here in the second inning.
Well, we talked about Bud Black to the right-handers getting the ball in on the hands. Look where Pena sets up. I want it here, throw it to me, and I think we'll take our chances. Ortiz goes down swinging.
2 outs with a man at first, and Jack Voigt will be the hitter. Regarding Eddie Murray, there was something that Cal Ripken Jr., who has, of course, a special thing going himself, and later on this year will be the focus, I'm sure, of some intense media coverage. Ball 1 to Voigt, but Ripken came up with that Baltimore club when Murray was over there, and Cal said that he said there was a veteran on that club who gave me some advice. He says, play every day, make no excuses, and keep all your emotions under control. And that veteran was Eddie Murray. A 2-ball, no strike count to Voigt.
Eddie brings that to Cleveland here as well. You have guys. We mentioned Manny Ramirez, Carlos Baerga. Those fellas, young players, they need that kind of leadership. A manager can only do so much. It's the fellows that play next to you that, in a sense, really get most of the respect because they're out there with you grinding it day to day to day. And not that you should disrespect any manager, but there's obviously a different feeling. One who dictates policy, the other fellows help you carry it out.
Bud Black has fallen behind Voigt. A 3-ball, no strike count. And he walks him on 4 pitches. Voigt had really been struggling. His average down to 132. Black walks him on 4 straight pitches.
Well, there are good walks and bad walks. The bad part of this is you do force a man into scoring position. Any good part of it is the fact that you're in the lower part of the batting order where the bottom third has not seen very much action.
Yeah, you made a point earlier, Jim, especially in the American League where you have the designated hitter and a starting pitcher may not have the opportunity to come in and look for a breeze kind of an inning. But that might be the case here when you look at the bottom 3 of the Texas order, only because they haven't played a lot. So if there's an inning where Black might take advantage of it, it would be at the end of this order.
Exactly. You need some kind of a breather, and if you get into a jam, who are you facing to try to get out of that jam? Totally, the 3 bottom part of the Texas order has 77 official at bat, so that's not much action. And this fella is looking for his first hit.
And you can see what the Rangers have done recently on this road trip when they put men in scoring position. The last 3 games hitless in 18 opportunities. 1-1. Eric Fox playing left field for Johnny Oates this afternoon. And he shoots it back into left. Albert Bell is there. The ball carries a bit, and Bell grabs it on the warning track to retire the side. No runs, a hit, 2 left. Bottom of the second coming. No score from Cleveland. Welcome back to Cleveland. No score. The Rangers and the Indians. Coming up next at 4 p.m. Eastern, we'll take you to Comiskey Park in Chicago, where Frank Thomas and the White Sox take on Paul O'Neill and the Yankees. Both teams, after disappointing starts, have turned things around in the last few weeks. White Sox had a 7-game winning streak. They've won 10 of their last 13 now. Chris Berman and Tommy Hutton next at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Bottom of inning 2 coming. And Manny Ramirez sent to lead off the inning for the Cleveland Indians. Ramirez, Thome, and then Perry. First pitch from Burroughs is a strike. Indians had a man in scoring position in the first. There's a high fly ball. Otis Nixon back a few steps and to his right gathers this one in. So the American League Player of the Month, Manny Ramirez, the first out in the second.
Wayne, when you throw a pitch like that, your heart almost jumps to your throat. That ball up around the letters, and for Burroughs, very fortunate that it stayed in the ballpark. Ramirez just getting underneath that pitch, but I guarantee you, Manny's eyes lit up when he saw that pitch approach the plate.
Here's Jim Thome. Thome with some good offensive tools, a good hitter. He's made a lot of strides this year against left-handed pitching, facing the left-hander Burroughs today. And he bounces this one to McLemore at second, who throws him out.
There's always a feeling of a starting pitcher when you look at a lineup, and you know the physical abilities of the other players, the lineup that they'll throw at you. But I will guarantee you that no pitcher in the American League can face the Cleveland Indians lineup on whatever basis he has to go against them. He may pitch 2 or 3 times a year against them. Mentally, they are tougher to pitch to than any team in baseball, I think. So not only do you go out there and you can get drained by doing your job physically, but mentally. And you can finish a ball game if you're lucky enough to pitch a complete game against these fellas. You're going to be drained in 2 categories.
Well, Kenny Rogers, I think, felt that way last night. He's a fellow, an all-star pitcher, and recognizes the quality of this Cleveland lineup top to bottom. This is Herbert Perry. Ball 1 the count.
Well, they're good and they're balanced. And I'm talking about righty lefty, young, older. I won't say old, older, veteran. Some of the fellows wouldn't want to be called older, but just a great mixture.
There's a tap third base side, and it rolls foul and is picked up in foul territory by Ortiz. So the count is 1-1. These guys wouldn't be that vain, would they? Be concerned about age?
Well, hey, I look around at some of the alumni things, and they say old-timers game. I would rather hear a former players game, not old-timers game. But here, as we talk about the young players, Herbert Perry coming up. He's strong. He has a short swing. He can hit the ball out of the yard. He hit one last night again, so he has 3 on the year. And who knows what is in store for him? Eddie Murray basically is holding him back, and who wouldn't be held back with a guy like Murray still in the lineup? But here's another fellow just waiting in the wings to step in and pick up the slack when someone goes down.
1-1 the count. That's wide. 2 balls and a strike. And the other thing about Perry is when they put him at first base, if they don't lose anything defensively, probably he's a plus over there. He's the kind of guy they think. There's some members of this Cleveland organization feel that if he had a chance to play every day, he would push some of the top defending first basemen for a Gold Glove over there. They think that much of him.
He's big, he's strong, and he plays his position well.
He started his career as a third baseman, had some shoulder problems, but has great hands and good footwork, and has played well at first base. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Ramirez and Thome have been retired by Terry Burroughs, making his first major league start, and 20 appearances out of the bullpen this year already for the Rangers, and goes to 3-2 on Perry. Indians big winners last night, 9-1. And a fly ball left center. This is Fox. So Perry's out of there, and so are the Indians in the second at the end of 2 from Cleveland. No score, the Rangers and the Indians. We're in Cleveland on the 4th of July, and we hope you're enjoying the Independence holiday. The fans here in Cleveland have come out in full force again this afternoon to watch the Indians and the Texas Rangers. a lot of activity in this downtown area around Cleveland as a result of this new ballpark. This park has meant so many things in so many different ways to Cleveland. Obviously, the Indians happy to be here as they have a new home, but its location in downtown has created a lot of excitement, a lot of activity downtown. The merchants love what it has done to the downtown area. Cab drivers are happy, and you show me a town with good, happy cab drivers, and I'll show you a good town. On to the third, no score. Rangers and the Cleveland Indians. Rangers send Esteban Beltre, and the first pitch is in there for a strike.
Well, at some point during this afternoon, because the 4th of July seems to mark the teams leading their divisions and then following up the rest of the year, do they win it, and so on and so forth. I have already picked my 2 finalists for this year's World Series, and I think it's a real nice matchup.
All righty. So, you know, I don't know. We should maybe save this and present this, give it its proper due.
No, it's not that big
like a special presentation, you know. Fanfare and all of that, bright lights. A ball, 2 strikes. Move the foul ball back. A lot of folks in the Ohio area are rooting for something that would be unusual with the Indians playing so well and the Reds over in the National League in the Central Division, leading Houston coming into play today by 5.5. But that's not what you have in mind, huh?
No, I have a all Indian World Series, the Braves and the Indians.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Braves have made a recent move, pushing the Phillies. You have to know that sooner or later, with the talent, the pitching, and the balance that the Braves have, that they're going to be right there.
I think they're finally starting to wake up at the beginning of the year. From what I had heard, Dwayne, some talk, not a team that was really molded together. Now they're starting to come together at the right time. That pitching is just going to get better, and you're going to be there tomorrow night. You'll get a good feel for that.
Yeah, we have the Dodgers and the Braves in what should be a great matchup. Nomo and Smoltz, the projected starters. The Dodgers have played much better recently, and they feel that they should win the West. They are a game behind the Colorado Rockies so far in the National League's Western Division. So some interesting races shaping up, and even in the American League Central, where the Indians pretty much have run away with things so far in an 11-game lead, the excitement has been generated by this Cleveland situation. There's so many people, I think, around the country who would take to this Cleveland ball club because of the underdog mentality and what they've been through.
Well, one of the reasons why they are leading, look at those numbers. Earned run average, it all starts with pitching, and you really have to look back to last year, in my opinion. Mike Hargrove did not have a good bullpen to work with. Now he adds Orel Hershiser to his starting rotation. He gets more innings out of his starters, saves a bullpen, which is probably 3 times better than it was last year. Here's Orel Hershiser, who's on the DL with a bad back. Dennis Martinez, a lot of innings. Nagy pitching well. Mark Clark is back. That's going to be a big lift.
The 3-2 pitch down the left field line, and it's going to be fouled. You know, it's going to be interesting about this Cleveland pitching, Jim. They do have some age among the starters. Would they be in the market to add a starting pitcher? You'd have to think yes. And would the likes of David Cone be available? You'd have to think yes. So it would not surprise me to at least hear some hot and heavy discussions about Cone coming to Cleveland at some point.
Well, you're at that time of the year when Toronto usually starts making their moves. So,
yep.
You know, with Gord Ash over there, he's not too happy with the way things are going. But they have a fellow, Julian Taveras, in the bullpen. Chad Oj, he's 4-1 as a starter. So they have the ability to bring along some of their youngsters with the veteran staff that they've started with.
Strike 3 call to Beltre. Second strikeout for Black, and the first out in the third. Let's go to Gary Miller.
The only other activity is in Bush. Also a scoreless game. Pedro Martinez facing Ken Hill, trying to move the run over with nobody out. The old 1-6-3. Great turn by Akendo. And as they play the third, they're scoreless as well. As we go back to our game at Jacobs Field.
Thank you, Gary. One out, base is empty. That was a 12-pitch at bat for Beltre. Think about mounting some pitches. Bud Black finally got Beltre looking. First pitch to Nixon is a ball.
Yes, and that should go into the equation. Bud Black, as we mentioned, the tempo of this game is really too slow. Not for the game overall, but I think for the Indian type of attack. Those guys, they come to the ballpark licking their chops and with bats in their back pocket. They want to go out there and hit. And again, the best way to reward them, get them off the field. Get them in the dugout and let them swing.
Nixon worked the count to 3-2 his first time up and then punched a single into right. Shortens on the bat. Takes ball 2. And then was picked off first. Rangers have had 3 base runners through the first couple of innings, but nothing doing in the scoring department. There's a little looper into short right. Ramirez had him played shallow and makes the catch for the second out. 2 gone with the bases empty in the third. One of your favorite nights of baseball coming up Monday night on ESPN prior to the All-Star Game, 7:30 Eastern. Legends of the Game All-Star Classic. 9 Hall of Famers, including Harmon Killebrew and Lou Brock. 9 Eastern, the Home Run Derby with the top 4 home run hitters from each All-Star team participating in the ballpark in Arlington. And at 10:30, live All-Star Gala coverage from Six Flags over Texas. Here's a bunt by Mark McLemore on the first pitch. Black with a pickup, a nice play to throw him out. McLemore out trying to bunt his way on. And the Texas Rangers are retired 1-2-3 in the third inning. Bottom of the third coming. Scoreless. Cleveland Indians no score. Bud Black a nice job on the bunt by McLemore.
Well, he takes his time on this play, and that's what it starts it all. And has to pick it up barehanded. You go to the glove trying to catch that ball, you won't have time. Still a bang-bang play, so not only throw a strike from the mound, but also as a fielder.
So Black has shut down the Texas Rangers through 3. Bottom of the third. Terry Burrows on the mound to face Tony Pena. Pena, Amaro, and then Lofton. On the right side, Boyd and McLemore. Ball back toward the line, and McLemore makes a nice catch over the shoulder. So Pena out on the first pitch.
Well, the fella who has the best angle on this play is your second baseman. You see a quick look there as well from McLemore. He just wants to get an idea how much room he does have, and I think anybody who knows the game fundamentally realizes on a ball hit like that it will come back to you, and it does.
1 gone. Here's Ruben Amaro. Amaro recalled yesterday from Buffalo where he was hitting .306. Burrows throws him a strike.
Gets here in time for batting practice, throws on the uni, and makes a great play in the first inning to help his pitcher out.
Started in center field last night, as he is this afternoon. Third base. Ortiz across the diamond to Voit. 2 up, 2 down. 2 quick outs here in the third for Burrows. 3 pitches, 2 outs.
Well, Johnny Oates has to be thrilled with what he's seen with his pitchers so far. He's keeping the ball down for the most part. I thought Otis Nixon would be a big part in this ball game, but perhaps the infielders more so right now. So Burrows is mixing them up. What you have to be aware of now maybe is that second time through the order. See if there are any adjustments. Sometimes that word can be overused, but the Indians perhaps with a little bit better idea this next time around, even though his first major league win came against the Indians for Terry Burrows.
Now Kenny Lofton takes the first one for a ball.
Are you a proponent of the DH?
Overall, not. I think it's more of a thinking man's game without it. A lot more opportunities to think along with the manager and the strategy, and I think anything you can do to stimulate the interest of the fan mentally as well as exciting. There's nothing wrong with the DH in terms of home runs and extra base hits, but I think the game is the sort of game that's better and maybe demands some involvement from the fan. That's the thing that's made it so interesting, and anything you can do to encourage that, I think, is good, and I don't think the DH necessarily encourages that.
Well, the reason I bring it up basically is because of Kenny Lofton. For those who are, if there was no DH, he would be out of the game because they want to keep him off the field defensively, and Juan Gonzalez as well. So there are some pluses. I am not as well. I believe in the purity of the game and all of that stuff. You should be able to do everything, all phases of the game, to be a big league ball player. And maybe someday soon, ownership will come to their senses, which I really don't believe. They'll vote and do it one way or the other, and I think that they keep talking about taking the DH out, try to keep the rules the same in the American and National. Let's get the game and the continuity back together.
A 2-out walk. So Lofton's aboard for Omar Vizquel. Well, there's some discussion about that topic coming up, and there might be enough votes to change that. The other side of that, from a practical side, and as much as we may want to express our feelings from a purist point of view, from a very practical side, you have to consider the player into that, though. The first pitch is a ball to Vizquel, and what that might mean, what kind of players you would exchange in terms of salaries and seniority, things like that. Would you then lose a veteran player who could still hit for maybe the 25th player on the squad? And that is an area that you have to legitimately discuss and wonder about.
Well, with baseball's marketing problems, they obviously want to find all the pluses they can, and you want to generate as much excitement in the game as you can. Hitting's part of it, obviously.
Vizquel goes to center, and Nixon is there to make this catch. A walk, the only thing going for the Indians in the third. Lofton is left aboard. Through 3, we have no score. Ivan Rodriguez will lead off the 4th inning in this scoreless game from Cleveland, the Rangers and the Indians. Rangers with a hefty disabled list itself. Dean Palmer among the hitters on that DL, and Rodriguez has a message on the back of his dugout.
Dean Palmer is a good man. He's a good person, and also he's a good teammate. And for me, put that in the bat, that made me feel okay. And like I say, we missed Dino, and we missed it, in the team. But the injuries happen in baseball. But I hope he's going to come better and come back next year.
And there's that message on the back of his helmet to Dean Palmer,
who was hitting .330 with 9 homers and 24 runs batted in only 34 games. So off to a great start and filling some offensive holes in that lineup.
Rodriguez hitting 3rd in the lineup for Johnny Oates today. He hit the ball deep to left his first time. There's a good look at Ivan's message to his teammate. Bud Black out in front of Rodriguez. No balls, 2 strikes.
The home run last night by Rodriguez, the only run scored by the Rangers, and as they are trying to keep it together, Johnny Oates said this is not a good club or town to come to when you're trying to hold things together.
Through the right side on an 0-2 pitch, Rodriguez shoots it into right field for a leadoff single. Let's go to Gary Miller.
Dwayne, we have our first 4th of July score. It's in the 4th inning. David Segui at the plate, who just had his hitting streak snapped last night. He's back at it against Kent Hill. That's a gapper. That's going to bring home the first run of the game. I guess his ex-teammates Cordero come all the way around from first. Montreal still batting in the 4th with a 1-0 lead. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Gary. That base hit for Rodriguez extends his hitting streak to 15. And here's Juan Gonzalez stepping in. Foul ball into the far end of the dugout.
Back in the second inning, they had the shift on for both Gonzalez and Tettleton. Gonzalez did not beat it. Tettleton did. But now with a man on, the runner at first, and Perry has to hold the runner aboard. You can't use that kind of shift, even though you would suspect that Juan Gonzalez is still going to try and pull every pitch.
Too high. 1 ball and 1 strike. We're in the 4th inning, no score. Gonzalez grew up idolizing Roberto Clemente. Clemente, number 21, and Gonzalez wears number 19. He had the opportunity for number 21 when Ruben Sierra was traded away from this Texas ball club, but out of respect for Clemente, declined to wear that. He says there's nobody else really should wear number 21. He says Clemente has such a special place that he'll stick with 19 and continue to idolize Clemente's number in his memory. Out in front, and the count goes to 2-2.
Well, there are a lot of players in this game that have made number 19 famous as well. Can you think of one?
Boy, you know. I bet he threw left-handed.
We won't mention his name.
There's, of course, Bob Feller here, but
yes.
that's not who we had in mind. We had the left-hander in mind.
Oh boy!
Full count. Jim Rooker. See, it was Jim Rooker's name who came to my mind before even Bob Feller. Yeah, I mean, you believe it. A friendship built upon such a shaky basis. 3-2 is a foul ball.
Well, this could be one of those innings for Bud Black. You're going through the heart of the order. Ivan Rodriguez starts it off with a base hit. Gonzalez, Tettleton. These two hitters coming up right now might be the turning point of the game for Bud Black. So if he can retire the two without any real damage, again, you start looking down in the order where there's really not very much production.
Rodriguez at first, nobody out, a full count, and a foul ball outside of third.
One of the things that has helped Black so far in the ball game is his control. He's only walked 1. He's allowed 3 hits now. He comes into this game allowing the American League to bat over 300 against him. So by not being able to really overpower anybody, especially someone like Gonzalez, you really have to work the corners, be somewhat of a surgeon out there, try to keep him off balance.
And a liner into left for a base hit. Bell tries to keep it out of the corner, but it rolls past him to the track. Rodriguez will hit third and stop there. The Texas Rangers have the first scoring opportunity, first serious scoring opportunity here in the 4th inning.
Well, you always think about keeping the ball down, trying to get the ground ball. Pena moves inside, so the pitch down and in for Gonzalez, and not quite in far enough. That might be the difference in the ground ball out, perhaps a double play or a base hit. Now Bell comes over and has problems with that, so it'll be a base hit and an error. And it looks like Texas is setting up shop, and Bell has to really tighten up his belt right now.
4th error of the year charged to Bell as Black faces Tettleton. Fouls the first one away. Mickey Tettleton single into center field, his first time up there. So the Rangers with men at 2nd and 3rd. Singles by Rodriguez and Gonzalez, and a move up to 2nd on the error charged to Albert Bell. One ball, 1 strike. Tettleton, 217 overall, under 200 with runners in scoring position.
Now with runners at 2nd and 3rd, there is somewhat of a shift put on for Tettleton.
This one blocked by Pena.
Carlos Baerga almost directly behind second base. We mentioned back in the 2nd inning, Tettleton hit the ball, lined one between the second base bag and the shortstop. In Gonzalez's case, he lined it right at Baerga, who was stationed behind the bag.
2 men in scoring position to open the fourth. Pop foul. That's going to carry out a play. And the count goes to 2-2 on Mickey Tettleton.
You notice Black doing the same thing with Tettleton that he tried to get Gonzalez out on, and that is pitch inside. Try to tie those big sluggers. Try to tie him up. Don't let him extend the arm. So on occasion you'll try to run that fastball down and away a little bit, but you pitch effectively inside so you can get him outside.
To tap third base, Thome will go to first. Out there as Rodriguez scores the first run of the ball game. Tettleton driving in his 33rd run of the year. Gonzalez remaining at second on that tap to third by Tettleton, scoring Rodriguez.
And Black does get the hitter out with the pitch away. The ball was on the outer part of the plate. Tettleton tried to pull the ball, and that's the way the defense was set up. You mentioned the shift. They play him to try to pull everything, and talk about hitters being creatures of habit. Once again, Tettleton doing what he normally does. Instead of going the opposite way, simply grounds softly to third.
Luis Ortiz, the third baseman for the Rangers, steps in. Lines it past Thome into left for a base hit. Gonzalez on his way to the plate. The throw all the way through, not in time, and back down to second base, safe there as Ortiz moves up a base on the throw through to the plate. Gonzalez scores to make it 2-0 Texas. A base hit and the 5th run batted into the year for Ortiz, and he moves into second on the throw.
A little bit surprised that Albert Bell tried to make this play because Gonzalez got a good jump off of second base. Granted, the ball was hit well enough, but Bell has to go to his right. He has to somewhat circle the ball, take a few steps to unload it. With all of that going on, Gonzalez scores easily. Now you have another runner in scoring position. So those are the fundamental things that Mike Hargrove at times will get a little bit upset at and keep the ball from being thrown to the wrong base. The double play is still in order, and you keep a man out of scoring position.
Jack Boyd takes a strike. Sometimes a player will try to atone on the next play for maybe the misplay just prior, and that might have been the case with Bell, who was charged with an error on the ball Gonzalez hit. Allowed him to move into scoring position. There's a base hit up the middle. Ortiz around third, and he will score. So Voit drives in the run. Well, Voit, who had really struggled at the plate recently, comes up with a big hit here. He had gone 0 for 17, 0 for 16 before coming up with this RBI single.
And when you start getting production out of the bottom of the order, it could be a rough day. That ball out over the plate, and Voit does a nice job. He actually reaches out and kind of loops over the ball and rams it into center field. Not a very good throw by Amaro. Yes, he did hit the cutoff man, but I think he was really trying to throw the ball to the plate.
So the Texas Rangers have put 3 runs on the scoreboard in the 4th inning. 4 hits and an error have helped. The only out of the inning, the ground ball to third by Tettleton. Jason Grimsley throwing in the bullpen for the Cleveland Indians as Mark Wiley makes a trip to the mound to talk with his left-hander Bud Black. So Rodriguez, Gonzalez, and Ortiz have all scored. Reminder, ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues. The triple-header, Game 2 at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Paul O'Neill and the Yankees against Frank Thomas and the White Sox live from Comiskey Park, followed by the 7:30 Eastern start. Barry Bonds and the Giants taking on the Cincinnati Reds, with Reggie Sanders and Ron Gant leading the charge in the National League Central Division. One out. A man at first, 3 runs home for the Rangers. And Eric Fox, playing left field and hitting 8th, steps in against Black. Boyd back in at first. Eric Fox was playing at Oklahoma City. He was added to the Ranger roster when Jeff Fry went back on the disabled list with the hamstring injury. Fox looks at a strike.
Well, Bud Black is not really doing very much different in this inning than he was in the previous three. It's a matter of the Texas Rangers perhaps adjusting, not looking for too much, just trying to hit the ball where it's pitched.
Down to third. Thome backs up, goes to second, and that's the only one they get. Fox reaches on a fielder's choice with Voit forced at second base. Mayorga taking the throw. Two outs, still a man at first. Esteban Beltre. Beltre becomes the 7th Ranger to bat in the inning. Called out on strikes his first time. He had that 12-pitch at bat before Black finally got him looking.
Well, in this inning, Bud Black has thrown strike one to every hitter. Usually that means the pitcher's in front. He controls things, sets up the sequence of pitches, and you would expect that the pitcher in this case for Bud Black would have the advantage, but it hasn't worked that way.
Just foul outside the bag. Thome, just in case, not doing any umpiring, and went ahead and made the toss across the diamond.
Well, here's a fellow that did not make the All-Star team, and you look at this whole ball club.
Yeah.
Every one of them is having the kind of year. They're bench players. Paul Sorrento, this guy has had great numbers coming off the bench. Thome is he's having one of those breakthrough years. He's putting it all together.
Well, he's 10th in the league in hitting coming into this game. 1 ball, 1 strike. And in the home run department, he's doing quite well there. Overall, he is 5th in the American League.
Cleveland with 97 team home runs this year.
Count is 2-1. Indians trailing 3-0 in the top of the 4th inning. All 3 Ranger runs in this frame. Black is behind the Texas shortstop. 3 balls and a strike. Benji Gill not in the lineup today. He's getting the day's rest. Beltre in there in his stead. It's going to carry out a play, so the count is full.
Well, anything Beltre does with the bat is a bonus. You don't lose too much defensively between the two, Beltre and Gill. In fact, you may add a little more consistency with Esteban Beltre there. Very adequate at shortstop.
Three-2 shot up the right side. If it's fair, that'll be extra bases into the corner. It is fair. Fox hitting third on his way to the plate. Beltre makes the turn and holds at second. A double, driving home the run to make it 4-0 Texas. So Beltre picks up an extra base hit, his 3rd double of the year. And that's going to be it for Bud Black.
Pitch down a little bit out over the plate, and it's really, again, not such a horrible pitch. It's just a case of Beltre going with the ball rather than trying to pull it. So you do have to give the hitter credit on occasion. It's just not a real good day for Bud Black. You see him hit third base in stride. That's good base running. Makes your third base coach look real good when you make the play like that.
So a pitching change coming here with the score 4-0 Texas. Back in a moment. The Texas Rangers have broken through with 4 runs in the 4th inning and chased Bud Black from the game in favor of right-hander Jason Grimsley.
This will be his 14th appearance. Grimsley with the save there, as you see, does not have a win or a loss, and he has made 2 starts for the Indians. Another one of those pitchers out of the bullpen Mike Hargrove has had to use at times to fill a spot in the rotation. Pretty good fastball for Jason Grimsley.
He faces Otis Nixon with Beltre at second. 2 gone on the first pitch to Nixon. Otis takes it for a ball. Well, the Texas Rangers have 7 hits, only 1 extra base hit, and in the lineup that features Rodriguez, Gonzalez, and Tettleton down the middle, it's Beltre who picks up the first extra base hit, a double. That chased home a run. A 2-ball, no strike count on Otis Nixon. Grimsley way behind Nixon now, 3-0. Grimsley is a native of Cleveland, but Cleveland, Texas, a little town in East Texas. Now pitching for the Indians. Originally broke in with the Philadelphia Phillies. He has walked Nixon on 4 consecutive pitches.
And that has been one of the big gripes against Grimsley, is the fact that his control, and with that last walk, 28 now in 30 innings, so obviously not a good sign.
Mark McLemore will be the hitter as the Rangers send their 9th man to the plate in the 4th inning. And there's a ball. So Grimsley has yet to throw a strike. He walked Nixon on 4 straight. There's a strike to McLemore. And the fans respond in kind.
Well, that's why you have more than 1 pitch in your repertoire. If you can't get 1 over, try another one. Having problems with a fastball, go to a breaking pitch. Throws a strike.
Ball 2. The Rangers have lost 3 in a row and 4 of their last 5. But they have scored first against the Indians today. There's a strike that squares it at 2-2. Grimsley divided last year between Charlotte and Cleveland. Most of his time with Cleveland in a starting role. Now holds at 2-2. He made 1 relief appearance and 13 starts for the Indians last year. Won 5 and lost 2. Earned on average a little better than 4.5. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mark McLemore. Two men on, 2 men out. The runners will get a few extra steps with this 3-2 pitch. Rangers have scored 4 times on 5 hits so far in the 4th. 3-2, and he got him. Strike 3 call on the corner to retire the side, but the Rangers send 9 men to the plate and score 4 times. We'll go into the Indian half of the 4th. Texas 4, Cleveland nothing. Today's promo game. Okay. It's a 4-0 ball game here. Later at 4 p.m. Eastern time, game 2 of the triple-header today, the Yankees and the White Sox from Chicago. And tonight in Cincinnati at 7:30 Eastern time, the Giants and the Reds, all on ESPN. They're on the ESPN circuit, headed for Cincinnati following today's game in Cleveland. Carlos Baerga will open the bottom of the 4th inning. Baerga has a double. He has picked up the only hit off Burrows so far through the first 3 innings. And the pitch is a strike. How many runs might be enough against the Indians? Well, a 4-run lead here for the Texas Rangers, but the Indians are averaging almost 6 runs a game.
Well, their fans are so used to seeing Cleveland come back. And it's not that they always have to come back, but when they get behind, that doesn't seem to bother Cleveland. They just figure out ways to wear you down, and then all of a sudden start thumping the ball. And after all, here is a team that has only lost 7 times in their own ballpark.
This club 22-7 at home this year. Only 16 times last year and so far this year have they lost here. 35-16 overall here. 22-7 this year. Too close, a ball and 2 strikes.
Now, Burrows did something a little different that time, somewhat more of an animated delivery, and it looked like he tried to reach back just a little bit more, get something extra on the fastball. I think this fellow, as he goes along each inning, Dwayne, is that he's getting more confidence, and against a club like the Indians, that's a pretty good statement.
Foul ball. Can you put the word pitcher, confidence, and Indians lineup in the same sentence and really mean it?
Yeah.
I tell you,
you don't,
something else.
You have 5 more innings, actually 6 counting this one, and for any pitcher that's out there, that is a long way to go. And you know that Burrows, in his mind, he's thinking, please let me go 5 with the lead. I can qualify for the win, and anything after that is a real bonus for him and his manager.
Baerga pops it foul. It's going to be out of play, holding the count at 1-2. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Well, you look at those Yankee great teams, and to me, the interesting thing about it is the Indians really started to come alive last year. This year is a residue of all of the things that had begun last year with the ballpark, the unity of the ball club and everything. They are just putting together, and now in '95, it's fruition time.
Oh, something extra on that one, and Burrows fell as he made the pitch.
Well, I have seen that many times in the past from former teammate Nellie Briles.
Yep.
Not that he did it on purpose. It's just sometimes you lose your footing out there, or, again, I think it's that little bit extra on the pitch that Burrows put into it.
The 2-2. And he's gone all the way out to 3 balls and 2 strikes. And you know, this is such an important hitter for Burrows after his team scored 4 times in the top of the inning to try to go out and shut down the opposition, especially that leadoff hitter.
Bingo, you hit it right on the head. That's another way of rewarding your offense. Shut them down. Put a 0 up there the next time you go out.
Might be the biggest pitch of the game for Burrows here, and a long drive deep to left. That ball is out of here. Number 11 for Carlos Baerga. And just like that, the Indians are on the scoreboard.
When the count is 3-2 in this situation, you're down by 4 runs. You look for something hard. You figure that the pitcher does not want to use a leadoff walk. And here comes the fastball up. And as so many times you'll see a switch hitter from the left side, they hit pitches better that are down. From the right side, they're stronger with pitches up. That ball was around the letters, and it's Plaza time.
98 home runs for the Indians this year. And here's Albert Bell, and he gets this one through the right side. Bell is aboard.
You got the feeling? Are you getting the fans are? They've seen it so often. They're saying, well, okay, here we go.
An interesting spot to be if you're Burroughs here in this ballpark with this lineup now.
Well, you're right, Dwayne. It's suck 'em up time. You know, are you going to cave in, and for a young fellow, are you just going to look at the challenge and adjust to it and go right after it? But again, you saw the fans. This is really a happening in Cleveland. I've met some nice people here. Herman Olson's celebrating a birthday in a few. He is such a great fan. He's from Poland, Ohio. He's been around for so long, and he's just like all these other people here. You wouldn't know there are problems in baseball when you come to Cleveland.
Here's Manny Ramirez taking one too low, ball one. It's a 4-1 contest.
Might add, by the way, after a home run, you see Albert Bell come up. Watch out. This guy might hit. He smartly hits the ball the other way for a base hit. What they need is base runners, and they do a lot of things right.
Snapped out to first, and Bell is back in there. That's something Rodriguez quickly became known for. Not only his throwing to second, he's had a little bit of a shoulder problem recently that's cut down his effectiveness, but he is not reluctant to unload a throw like this.
Well, you have a couple of fellows in this game, Rodriguez and Tony Pena. They love to throw behind the runners, and if you fall asleep, they will pick you off.
Ramirez, player of the month for June, fouls it back, and the count is 1-2. Manny Ramirez, just 23 years old. Middle of the Indian lineup now. Home run and a single to open the inning. Too far in, off the plate. Squares the count at 2-2.
Now that's a good pitch by Burroughs. You come inside, and if you miss off the plate. And with a guy like Manny Ramirez, who does like to pull the ball, even though he does have power the other way, you give the hitter an idea, you get his attention, and you go from there.
The 2-2. Full count.
They need to go out and settle Burroughs down a little bit. I think in pitching to Carlos Baerga, we saw him reach back a little more, get a little animated, fall down on one pitch. And there's a certain point that you come to with that confidence level. You have to stay in touch with reality and remember who's up there and what team you're pitching against. So you may have to settle Burroughs down a little bit. Another important pitch on the way.
3-2 to Ramirez. There goes Bell, and the pitch is pop foul out of play. I think your point is right on target. He has to do the things that got him through the first 3 innings. He can't go out there and find himself in trouble in the 4th and try to throw his way out of this spot.
And that's what he's trying to do. It looks like he's trying to overthrow some of the pitches a little bit, but I think that goes along with the youth of a guy like Burroughs and the success he's having so far in the ballgame.
Three-two again. Bell breaks, and there is ball 4. The first 3 Cleveland hitters have reached base. In the 4th, a home run, a single, and now a walk.
Well, he tried to walk Ramirez on the previous pitch, and Manny fouled it off. The ball actually out of the strike zone, but does walk him. And you're getting into the situation here where it doesn't matter at what point you are in the Cleveland lineup, everybody is dangerous. And this guy coming up, Jim Thome, what improvement he has had this year against left-handed pitching.
Dick Bosman, the pitching coach for the Texas Rangers, who came to the Rangers from Baltimore along with Johnny Oates. Bosman trying to get Burroughs back on track. That's Dennis Cook, the left-hander, the former Cleveland Indian, loosening in the Texas bullpen.
Well, I think a two-part meeting here. Bosman settling down Burroughs and at the same time giving Cook some time in the bullpen. But here comes Jim Thome, and you go back, way back to the Al Rosen days, and that's what Thome reminds me. Not that he's an Al Rosen numbers kind of guy, but I'm talking about the grinded out type of player that he is. I remember the days of Al Rosen when he played with a broken finger, and didn't stop him. He didn't go on the DL. Today, hangnails put you there. There are a lot of guys who won't like that, but it's pretty much a fact.
Well, Jim Thome had problems against left-handed pitching last year, but not this year so far. Hitting over 300 against lefties and facing one now. Long drive to right. Did he hit that ball? That baby is gone. And with one swing of the bat, this game is tied.
These fellas are lethal.
Jim Thome. That's number 17 for Thome. 39 runs batted in, and he jumped on the first pitch to hit it out and pull the Indians even with the Rangers.
Look where Rodriguez is. He wants that ball away. This is about belt high down the middle, and bada bing. They want a curtain call.
The fans are on their feet calling for Jim Thome. Thome is going to do it. So the young man from Peoria, Illinois, if it plays in Peoria, it plays in Cleveland. And Thome gives them the curtain call.
Well, I can almost guess what Dick Bosman was telling his young pitcher. All right, you've just walked a guy. Settle down. Get ahead of this next hitter. Throw the ball over the plate. They wanted a marginal strike, as you saw Rodriguez on the outside corner, the pitch more down the middle. And as a hitter, as Thome steps in, give him credit. He's thinking this guy's in trouble, and that's some things hitters forget, that it's the pitcher that's in trouble out there. So you look for something hard. He just got the hit-me pitch and rams it into the seats.
Herbert Perry ahead in the count. 2 balls, no strikes. Still nobody out in this inning. Perry takes a wave and fouls it back. 2-1. Texas 4 in the top of the inning, and before a man is retired, the Indians have 4 back in the bottom of the frame. 99 home runs to top the major leagues for the Indians. Three and one. Perry has already shown home run power. He's hit 3 out for the Indians. And a foul ball goes to 3-2.
We talk so much about the Indians. Mike Hargrove, Mark Wiley, the pitching coach, Charlie Manuel, the hitting coach. To me, he's an enigma here in Cleveland, because you don't think about it. They have a great hitting team. Well, why is that? Well, it's because of Charlie Manuel. He spends a lot of time, down-to-earth, common-sense type hitting coach.
Perry pops it foul. It's going to carry out a play.
During batting practice, Omar Vizquel, who is up to around 260 now, got off to a horrible start. Vizquel told Charlie, he says, you know, I hit 290 a couple of years ago, and he says, I don't know how I did it. So Charlie doesn't talk to him. Why put thoughts into a player's mind? Let him hit how he doesn't know how to hit. And sometimes it works out.
That's right. Ignorance is bliss.
There you go. I'll tell you something about Vizquel. He doesn't have to hit with the glove he takes out there at shortstop.
That's right. And the Gold Glove proves that. 3-2 again. And it's popped up on the right side. McLemore, the second baseman, is there to make the grab. That's the first out. So 2 home runs, a single and a walk before the Indians have the first man retired.
Yeah, there's a lot of muscle there. The forearms, the biceps.
He's enjoying this game. You know, his approach has been pretty good too for a young player. He's only 24. He was saying during batting practice today, with the winning that has started to occur here in Cleveland last year and carrying over into this year, Tony Pena hits a high foul well out of play, strike 1. Tommy was saying all of that's great. He says, but I have to remind myself that I have to get my work done first. He says there's a lot more distractions now, a lot more people around following the ball club. They want more of your time. He says, I love that. That's great. But my first responsibility is to get my work in. And the Indians, pretty much to a man, have adopted that approach. Down to third. Ortiz. Low throw, and it gets by Voit. Backed up by McLemore, and that will hold Pena to first base. So a bad throw. Ortiz will be charged with his 5th error.
Well, usually when you see a play like that not made, it's simply concentration or lack of. Not much of a problem fielding the ball, and you see just fundamental stuff. The crow hop, but he didn't really cut the ball loose, Dwayne. He just kind of flipped it over there, and sometimes that's the difference. Voit couldn't dig it out. But I wanted to follow up on what you were saying with the hard work and everything. The Indians last week went on a 3-game losing streak, had a team meeting, lost another one, and then they got back on a tear.
Here's Ruben Amaro driving one deep into left center field, and that ball's going to carry out. Amaro hit it over that 19-foot wall in left center field. A 2-run home run, and the Indians lead 6-4.
Well, you're going to have to call it the Cleveland virus, because once you get into the lineup, everybody seems to get it. And it doesn't matter who it is. It's one guy one night. Sure, there are consistent players down there that do the job day in and day out, but Amaro shows up yesterday. Alomar hits his first home run of the year to get him started. Perry hits another one. Now Amaro today. It's just pull him out of a hat, and whose turn is it? Fastball right down the gut, and I think Amaro knew that it was gone, and Johnny Oates wants to get Burroughs out of there. You really don't want to destroy a youngster's confidence.
The 100th home run of the year for the Indians. Carter is gone. Every single pitcher's nightmare. The Tribe scoring 6 so far in the 4th inning to knock out Perry Burroughs. And left-hander Dennis Cook becomes pitcher number 2 for Johnny Oates.
Yes, Dennis Cook became expendable when Greg Olson joined the Indians and was traded for infielder Guillermo Mercedes. Cook has 1 save this year, and that was with the Rangers, so in his 5th appearance for Texas, and he has to try and calm things down against this Indian lineup. Both starters gone. Both number 9 hitters in each lineup finished off each starter.
Now Kenny Lofton. And Cook throws a strike. Ruben Amaro jumped on the first pitch and hit it high over the left center field scoreboard, where the wall is 19 feet high. Amaro, who hit a couple of home runs last year for the Indians, connects for the first time this year. 2 strikes to count to Lofton. Amaro was hitting .306 at Buffalo with 6 home runs in 40 games. Got the call with Eddie Murray on the disabled list. One ball, 2 strikes. Through the first 3 innings, we had no score in this game. So far in the 4th, we've had 10 runs. The Rangers sent 9 men to the plate in the top of the inning. Lofton is the 8th hitter. to bat in this inning for the Indians. Foul ball.
Dennis Cook coming over from the Indians, and you have to wonder, for some pitchers, they sit in their own bullpen, watch their team slug the ball around the ballpark, as the case was for Cook when he was with Cleveland. Now you face those fellows, you think, well, I know how to get them out. I think I could get them out. Now he gets a chance to try and put that thinking in action, and sometimes you really never know.
There you go, that confidence thing again.
Well, there are times when that's the only thing you have to work with. The stuff you take out there might not be good enough.
Swing and a miss. He gets Lofton on strikes, and that's the first Indian to be retired on strikes today.
Now, Kenny Lofton, against left-handers, will look for the pitch more in, but look at Rodriguez. He wants this pitch away, and you see where Lofton, he is pulling off the ball somewhat and can't reach out far enough. You see him try to extend the arms and reach that pitch and can't quite do it. So you get to the 2-strike count, expand the strike zone a little bit, and I think there is a case where Cook had the advantage, lefty-lefty.
Now he faces Omar Vizquel, batting right-handed. Off the plate for a ball. Vizquel nothing of 2. Indians have 6 runs on 5 hits overall, 4 hits in this inning, and 3 of the 4 hits have been home runs. Two 2-0 the count to Vizquel. Cook happy to be in Texas. He was the 3rd left-hander in the Cleveland bullpen, and talked to Indians GM John Hart about a possible trade, and had only good things to say about the Indians and Hart. Fly ball toward the left field line. Fox is there and makes the catch to retire the side. 3 home runs in the inning. Jim Thome's homer pulled them even. Nero's homer got them out in front through 4, 6-4 Cleveland.